Sometimes we use a variety of sampling methods together. Sampling schemes that combine several methods are called multi-stage. Most surveys conducted by professional polling organizations use some combination of stratified and cluster sampling as well as an SRS. So most of the times in the real world we use a combination of these things. Having learned that freshmen are housed in separate dorms allowed you to sample their attitudes about the campus food by going to dorms chosen at random. But you're still concerned about those possible differences between men and women. It turns out that these freshman dorms are house the sexes on alternate floors. How can you design a sampling plan that uses this fact to your advantage? So remember, we already clustered, okay? So we already picked a dorm, or maybe even 2 or 3 dorms. That was first and foremost. But after we cluster and we get down to a certain dorm that we're going to use, now because we're concerned about those differences in men and women, we need to then ensure that we've got both men and women selected to be in our sample. So what we can do next is we can use stratify. So after the cluster sampling, we can then randomly pick students from the men floors and then randomly pick students from the female floors. Thus ensuring both men and women are represented. And what you're doing there is stratified sampling. So first we clustered to get down to a dorm or 2, and then we're going to stratify to get down to making sure both men and women are selected. All right, last is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is sometimes when, basically what it is systematically is when you select like every 10th person on an alphabetical list of students. And it doesn't have to be 10. Every 5th person, every other person, every 100th person. You just kind of want to make sure that whatever number you choose, it gets you through your entire list. So if I have 300 people, and I'm going to select 5 people, which is kind of a small sample, but anyway, just for simplicity's sake, and I select every 10th. This would not be a good technique. This is still systematic, but it's not good. Because 5 people every 10th, that's only going to get me through the first 50 people of this 300. What if the remaining 250 people are all alike in some way? Like, I might not be getting a good representative sample. So you want to make sure, you kind of want to think about how many people do you want and how many people do you have overall, and that'll help you decide what would be a good number to go by. Make sure though, if you have to have some sort of randomization. So if we do every 10th person, that's not random. So what we do is we start from a randomly selected individual. So I might somewhere, if I'm going to do every 10th person, I might number the first 10 people and then randomly pick one of these numbers. So I go to my random number generator and it picked 3. So person 3 is in my sample. Now I'm going to do every 10th after that person. So that would be the 3rd person and the 13th and the 23rd, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's systematic samples. All right, so here basically there are 4 different samplings going on here. One is simple, one is stratified, one is cluster, and one is systematic. So just pause the video and go ahead and take a few moments to see if you can fill in which one each of these is before watching or listening to my answers. So if we pick every 10th passenger as the people board the plane, that should be easy because we just did it. That is systematic. From the boarding list, we randomly choose 5 people from first class and then 25 of the other passengers. All right, so you're picking from 2 different groups on this plane, all the first class and all the rest of the plane. So that's what stratified is. You're kind of breaking the passengers into first class and not first class, and you're selecting from each group. Randomly generate 30 seat numbers and survey the passengers in those seats. So now all the people on the plane have different seats. Seats are all numbered. I'm just going to randomly select 30 seat numbers. That's just an SRS, or simple random sample. And obviously you can see cluster is the last one, so that's what's left over, but make sure you understand why it's cluster. So planes are already broken down into these seat positions. So like on the right side of the plane, you've got the window seat, the middle seat, and the aisle seat. And on the left side of the plane, you have the window seat, the middle seat, and the aisle seat. So the whole plane is already broken into these groups, okay? What we're going to do is randomly select one of these groups, the entire group. So like I number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and my calculator randomly picks 5. So now everyone in the middle seat on the right side of the plane is going to be in my survey. And that's cluster sampling. I didn't pick, if I would have picked one person or maybe 5 people in the left window and 5 people in the middle left and 5 people in the aisle left and 5 people in the aisle right, 5 people from here and 5 people from there, that would be stratified, but that's not what we're doing. We randomly select a seat position and we survey all the passengers in that position, and that's what cluster is. And your clusters are all the different seat positions. As long as you don't think all these people are alike in some way and they kind of all represent the population of the plane, you're good to go.